Kazakhstan is one of the most multinational countries in the world. Here live representatives of more than 130 ethnic groups and nationalities. Each ethnos is a unique tradition, unique holidays, fascinating stories and amazing recipes. Recipes of kindness and peace, recipes of respect for their ancestors and foreign culture, recipes of friendship. Hello! We continue our immersion into the culture and customs of ethnic groups that live in Kazakhstan. And again today, a lot of discoveries and acquaintances, recipes and melodies, stories and hobbies are waiting for us. This time the recipe for friendship will focus on the representatives of bright and charismatic nation, known for its glorious dances and music, cuisine and sports talents. Meet the Brazilians of Kazakhstan. Coming up next in the program, is it easy to be a wife of a Brazilian man? I said with a man, and by the way, he wants to meet you. Really? That's interesting. And who is he? I said he is a Brazilian. It was the last thing they expected to hear. What is the secret ingredient of Brazilian cuisine? We'll take this grounded chicken that I prepared. This is a regular stuffing. I cooked it for about an hour and a half. Then I got rid of the broth, added some onions, sweet peppers, black pepper, some oregano and lots of love. What does choreographic art of Brazil and Kazakhstan have in common?
Of course, in the beginning the culture was different, the way of working, the mentality was a bit different. But slowly they adapt, and I have to say they adapted really well.
We will learn more about the most beautiful types of martial arts. At the moment, capoeira is a unique art that presents a person with stimulating life situations. We will try to reveal the secrets of the Brazilian carnival costume. Oh my God, it's super tight! Is it possible that Brazilian women feel the same way on real Brazilian carnivals? Well, I'll tell you more. Their costumes are made with wires. I would have worn something like this to the carnival. We will listen to beautiful music that will make you dance. Of course, there are not so many Brazilians in our country, but every representative of this hot country we met in the course of making this program turned out to be people with an extraordinary personality and with a bright, interesting story. So first we had to take a trip to Astana, where despite the fierce winters, immigrants from Brazil feel themselves excellent. Ricardo Amarante came to Kazakhstan after several years of working in Belgium, when he was invited as a choreographer to Astana Ballet. It seems that he likes everything, and the way our ballet artists dance and the circumstances in which his current life is taking place.
Of course, in the beginning the culture was different, the way of working, the mentality was a bit different. But slowly they adapt, and I have to say they adapted really well. We have a different way of working in Europe, in Brazil than here, but we've seen to exchange so much ideas, so much work, and now they're working really good, really. I adapt a little bit to them, they adapt a little bit to me, and we are making great work together.
He fell in love with Astana, which became a new home for Ricardo.
I like so much the architecture of the city, the buildings, the grandeur of the city. I find everything's very impressive. All the buildings massive, all the futuristic. For me, it's very futuristic architecture.
He has a lot of work. He has a premiere and a tour in the future. We were fortunate enough to look into the rehearsal room.
I've been working in Astana for 2 years already, and since I first arrived, I've been so happy. I've been so lucky to work with such a wonderful group of dancers, and I've been so happy to experience the evolution of these dancers. When I first started with them, they had a very good potential, And then together we develop our own style, our own way of dancing, and today I couldn't be happier. Every time I work with them, I see their improvement. They're like my babies already. I feel like, oh my God. And they, everywhere I show their videos, I show the photos, how the quality of our dancers. The whole world is so very impressed with our performances, the quality of our dancers, and I'm very, very proud of that.
Roberto Santos feels himself not less comfortable in the northern capital, a sparkling and charismatic restaurateur. His fate made a sharp turn when Roberto fell in love here in Kazakhstan. Let's start with the most ordinary question. What is it like to be a Brazilian wife? Well, it's good to be a Brazilian wife, but it seems to me that it does not depend on nationality. The personality is more important. In the family, what kind of a father he is. Roberto is a very good person. Well, if you compare with our Kazakh husbands and fathers, is there some fundamental difference? Maybe Brazilian men are more likely to spend more time with their children or distribute responsibilities in the family in a different way. Nina is a representative of perhaps one of the most romantic professions. She is a flight attendant. She didn't know how to introduce her fiancé to her parents. The girl's parents were slightly shocked because they knew little about Brazil and the Brazilians. But the future son-in-law won over the hearts of his in-laws in an instant. One day I was getting ready for our date, and when I almost left the house, my mother asked me, "Where are you going?" I said, "To the restaurant." She asked, "With whom?" I said, "With a man, and by the way, he wants to meet you." Really, that's interesting. And who is he? I said he is a Brazilian. It was the last thing they expected to hear. And my mother asked, "What does he look like?" We did not know anything about Brazil at all. "And in what language do you speak?" "In Russian." "Does he speak Russian?" "Yes." Roberto is very charming with everyone he meets. Him and my parents became friends in an instant. Now the couple has 2 wonderful daughters and a business, which has become almost as a second home for them. Yes, it's a second home. Our eldest daughter, when our restaurant was in another place, she was very small then, and in that old restaurant she had her own bed. She lived there since she was 3 months old. Roberto will teach us today how to prepare a simple, quick and easy dish that will surely be a success for your guests and family. We start this way. We cut this because it's not very good for you. We cut this in half. We've already washed the vegetables. They're all clean and ready to go. I'll put it in a plate to make it beautiful. As you can see, acquaintance with Brazilian cuisine started very actively. Bravo! Is it right? Yes, just do not cut off your fingers. We need to cut it in small cubes. Roberto really turned out to be a person who is capable of changing his place immediately. Before coming to Kazakhstan, he worked in Moscow. Where did you learn Russian so well? Honestly, nowhere. I sometimes feel ashamed that I do not know Russian well. I make a lot of mistakes. Now we'll take this cake, fry it here, and in a couple of minutes it will be ready. It should be golden and crispy. Is this a traditional homemade food? Yes, and it is very delicious. You see, it should look like this. Very beautiful. It's very simple. Very simple. Can we use any filling? Any. If a person likes meat, we can cook cakes with chicken or beef and add nothing more. It is ready now. Now one moment. That we are on this side of the camera. We have only one option. Take this recipe and cook it yourself or come to Roberto's restaurant. Roberto came to our country by accident. He received a random invitation from strangers who urgently needed a chef. Everything turned out well, although there was no time to think. Now our Brazilian adores not only his wife and daughters, but also the country in which he lives in. Our cultures are very similar. We also enjoy meat, but at the same time we are as hospitable as you are. You are very open, very kind, temperamental people. You love fights. In Brazil we have jiu-jitsu. And I thought that maybe it's because it was the first time. But 2 weeks later, after I arrived here to work, I felt that I want to live here. Next, come along with us to Almaty, where we will have an interesting meeting. Ruslan Balabayev, although he himself is not a Brazilian, but he became close to Brazilian culture through martial arts. Capoeira is the Brazilian martial art that emerged when the Portuguese colonized Brazil. Culturally, they brought a lot of different things from other colonies on the African continent, such as Mozambique, Guinea. They brought black labor to work on sugarcane and coffee plantations. The elements of dance, acrobatics and theater are combined in the capoeira. And although it was born as a martial art, now it's more of a show. A duel, as a rule, it is non-contact and very similar to a dance. This is not a fight between them, but a game. When 2 capoeira dancers play with each other, well, the play can be different. It can be tough, it can be soft. It can be built more on traditions or more on a real fight. In general, the first school of capoeira was opened only in the 1920s, and it was founded by a master. His name was Bimba, Manuel dos Reis Machado. This is the man who first created the so-called Capoeira Academy. In Kazakhstan, this art began to develop about a quarter of a century ago. Our school, which we represent in Kazakhstan, is the Capoeira Federation, which was founded in Kazakhstan in 2007. In general, since 2003, I have been popularizing Brazilian martial arts. And at the moment, our academy, which is now in Almaty, is basically a unique base. Looking at fighters, sometimes it's hard to believe that this is a fight. Athletes move so beautifully. Probably in every nationality there is such a thing. When we are happy, we sing, and when we sing, we begin to dance. And so many confuse capoeira with a dance. There is nothing wrong with this. It's normal. Why? Because the movements are similar to a pendulum from side to side. This way, capoeira masters accumulate energy, which already with a movement help them to express themselves. Although calling the art of capoeira a dance is not entirely true, yet it is impossible to notice the similarities. When it comes to Brazil, to many people's minds comes a phrase from an old film, Dona Rosa. I'm an old soldier and I do not know the words of love. And who needs words when there is music? The musicians of the Kumangazi Conservatory recently presented the program From Brazil with Love, and judging by the warmth of the meeting of the first spectators, the success of such concerts is obvious. Well, as far as you know, Brazil is a very hot country. All musicians who are on this stage today, they're all very talented. I really like Brazil, Portugal and language. And as a musician, I'm learning everything by ear. The folk rhythms of Brazil have been influenced by the Indian and African, Portuguese and Spanish motifs, but perhaps the most famous genres are samba and bossa nova. Today we will present the audience with music which is very rarely performed. When they hear the flute in jazz, it's probably the first music that comes to mind.
Moça do corpo dourado do sol de Ipanema, o seu balançado é mais que poema, é a coisa mais linda que eu já vi passar.
The story of the girl from Ipanema is told with musical notes. The song made its authors rich and famous, and the girl herself to this day lives in Rio de Janeiro. Who knows, maybe with a light hand of Bazooka Band and their lead singer Diana, Brazilian rhythms will sound more often in Kazakhstan.
Nossa vida, ser pai é preciso samba, fazem samba viver. E não batucada, esse chão deu pra cá ficou, 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 batucada, esse chão.
Honestly, listening to this music, I want to feel myself like a participant in the carnival in Rio, or at least try on a luxurious carnival costume. It turns out that these are famous Brazilian costumes. Can I try them on? Try on the headgear? Okay. What a beauty! How do you do all this? Girls from the capital's ballet Viva don't just dance in all these heavy costumes, but also make them themselves. Listen, you need to dance so graciously, so that this crown won't fly off your head. It's crazy. Let's try this one. My God! Those who do Brazilian dances are very capable people. Otherwise, there are no words. Without a special talent, it's hard to walk in this costume. Imagine wearing high heels. The dress does not weigh less because it is completely embroidered with beads, stones. They all increase the weight of the costume. Participants of the ballet show create their costumes on their own, and everything here is calculated and tested more than once. Listen, girls, well, it's all about learning how to dance in it and how you do it. We are not in Brazil. Well, by trial and error, we sew these costumes with our own hands at the moment. Now we have a workshop. Before this, all was done at home. Well, for example, how long did it take to make such a crown? Well, I'll tell you honestly, we have such an approach. If we need it tomorrow, then it will be ready tomorrow. What can we say? After such a kaleidoscope of bright outfits, exciting rhythms, amazing stories, a variety of flavors, we want to go to Brazil right now. But fortunately, you can get acquainted with the culture of representatives of this unique country without leaving Kazakhstan, where a huge number of ethnic groups live together, sharing with us their customs, traditions and holidays. Until next time on Kazakh TV.